Hello and welcome to History Check, where we recap what's been going on in our latest adventures and campaigns. Today we're going to be discussing the finale of the Scavengers mini-campaign, which, woo, that was close. And as a DM, I just have to say that my players did fantastic. Kudos to them. So, where we had last left off, our players had decided to camp out for the night on the backside of the mountain after taking out the Remoraz, after taking out Finks, and sometime early in the morning, a couple of frost salamanders came across them, and as Kelrin attempted to wake the rest of the party, the salamanders attacked. Valden, using some quick thinking, cast a wall of force between them and the salamanders, effectively blocking them off in the cave. What Valden did not know, though, is that the salamanders could burrow underneath that wall of force, so it was futile, but it helped them out in the long run. They were able to get in some good hits as one was burrowing in and then the other followed after. Defeating that, they made their way back to the guild to receive their final two missions. However, they were granted a bit of a holiday, a beach week, if you will. While they're on the beach with their lovely, wonderful butler, Denton, they had a pretty great time. They managed to help some baby sea turtles make their way to the ocean. It was adorable. They murdered lots of birds that tried to attack the sea turtles. That was not, well, okay, it was kind of good. They were helping the turtles, but they killed the birds. Circle of life. While they were there, they found sort of a mysterious group of crabs, and following these crabs to a grotto-type area, they could hear the sounds of larger, what they believe as larger crabs and the clacking. And later in that evening, they were accosted by this group of crabs, and they did manage to take down these giant crab folk, but a couple of them managed to escape. So I'm sure that won't have repercussions at a later date. Maybe. So after they defeated the crab folk and they enjoyed the rest of their beach week, they went back to begin their second to last mission, which involved going to what appeared to be a former church. And at this ruined church, there was some fiendish activity. Immediately upon coming up to the church, they noticed that there were some ephemas that had perched up in the bell tower of the area. For those who don't know, ephemas are more or less harpies, just from Theros, so slightly different, but not too much. And they made quick work of those. They somehow managed to knock the bell all the way down the tower, which kind of blocked a little bit of the way in, so they could really only go straight through the front door. And upon opening the front door, they found 69 abyssal chickens. Why 69 abyssal chickens? Why not 69 abyssal chickens? I have been wanting to try to kill my party with abyssal chickens for a really long time, but that didn't work. They killed the chickens. All the chickens are dead. Why would they kill those poor innocent abyssal chickens? I don't know. They were bored. But they had a good time doing it. So after they took care of the chickens, they continued to explore around the church until they came across a room that had two other doors. On one door, it appeared to be quiet. On the other door, they heard what sounds like cackling. And our goblin decided to open that door, and lo and behold, there were cacklers. And as the party was attempting to take down the cacklers through the other door, burst the Bone Devil, who was in charge of the cacklers. And not happy to see that his little cacklers are getting beaten up, he immediately decides to go after our spellcaster Valden. And our other spellcaster took one look at that situation, looked back at the cacklers, and said, "Oh, I'm going to keep fighting the cacklers. Valden's on his own." So that was kind of a funny moment. Sort of great teamwork. Great teamwork. But nonetheless, they defeated them, and they made their way to the sub-basement. And in this sub-basement, there appeared to be a tunnel leading to what was the original basement of the church. And in this original basement, they found what appeared to be a very dark altar. And guarding that altar was a few more harpies. And these harpies were standing next to a portal, and through this portal, a more demonesque creature was making his way through. Now, being the quick thinker that he is, our lovely Valden, our amazing clockwork sorcerer, cast Dispel Magic on the portal. Well, I'd planned for this. I thought it would be a possibility, so I did some rolls, and the portal started basically imploding on itself. And what happened was not only did the fiend that was crawling through get sucked back to the Nine Hells, but so did most of the harpies, save for one, and the rest of the team had to make a dexterity saving throw, in which case neither of our spellcasters succeeded. So they really creatively asked if they could use their teleportation abilities, their Misty Steps, to get themselves further away to get another chance at an acrobatics. And me being the ever so gracious DM, I allowed it, and they managed to succeed, which was very good, because if they had failed, then they would have been trapped in the Nine Hells. And their mindset is, oh, well, we would have just banished ourselves back to our plane. Well, sure, if you hadn't have just pissed off the demon that was climbing through, sure. But nevertheless, it didn't happen, and they were fine. And they finished exploring. They realized that the altar was an altar for Jublex. More or less, it seemed like some fiendish forces were trying to summon Jublex. The creature that was crawling through the portal before it closed, that was an overlord. A couple more steps before they would have gotten to the big boss demon thing, but it's fine. It's fine. So they finish that up. They go back, and they're waiting for their final mission. And their final mission is to explore this forest where another party has been, but none of the party members before them really survived. There was one guy who came back who was kind of delirious, more or less, and sort of not really very clear on what he had seen, but he did remember there being an artifact. So this was a priority for the guild, as they're trying to retrieve these artifacts. So our party, using their mass amount of wealth at this point, buys a literal shit ton of health potions, which, good, because that just meant that I didn't have to hold back. And they made their way towards this forest. Initially, they came across some undead owlbears, some undead giant, and then they made their way into the deeper, darker part of the forest where some woe striders were. And if you've never seen woe striders, they're from Magic the Gathering. They're terrifying. They've got like long, spidery limbs and like dead faces. It's dead. It's dead. But they have the ability to negate magic, so our spellcasters just had an absolute blast with that. They also came across some undead spiders. They did manage to take out the woe striders and slip in to sort of this underground area where a stone slab closed behind them. And in this area, it was a large open cavern that sort of had like a dark druidic feel to it. And inside there was another altar with some stone structures around it. There was also several more undead, a ghast, a ghost, a couple of zombies, and near the altar where an artifact was laying was an adult blue Draco Lich. And this Draco Lich was basically controlling the undead in the forest and manipulating them and basically killing the forest around him just by being there. So the group got to work, and there was a couple times where it was pretty close, both for the fight with the woe striders as well with this finale. But fortunately, I mean, the great teamwork by the team. Valdin the sorcerer hasted our fighter, and he took that action surge, and in one round he did 100 points of damage to the Draco Lich, which was about a third of its health. So he really put the work in. But it was pretty close. If they had gone another round, I think one or two of them probably would not have made it. So I think that they were fortunate to get those hits in when they did. So they killed the Draco Lich, and almost immediately things in the area start to lighten up. The bodies of the undead around them sort of disappear. And they retrieve this artifact, this staff, a forgotten staff, as it were. And they return back to the guild, and upon returning, the guy at the guild gate's like, oh, the boss is going to want to talk to you guys. So they go back to their room, and waiting for them is none other than the Cathrock Blackjaw, the head of the guild, one of the members of the council. And he basically congratulates them and offers them to get a promotion, more or less, to be able to take on more dangerous missions, to which the group accepts, and that is where we leave part 1 of Scavengers. Now, part 2 will be coming in about 12 weeks. We're going to go through a mini campaign with Brandon as the DM, and I'll be a player, so it'll be a nice switch. When we get back to part 2 of Scavengers, it will not be the same characters. It's going to be different characters, just because I think that having the ability with these short campaigns to try different classes and to try different character types, I think is a lot of fun for the players. And I think both Brandon and I agree as DMs that it's nice to sort of have that, you know, the ability to sort of swap around people. And so, yeah, they're going to be coming back as different characters, and I cannot wait to see what they do and what's in store for them. Those that crab cult that they run into is going to come back because that's what chat demanded happen. Crab cult, it's fine. But in the meantime, we will be playing Viva Las Varto, which is Brandon's mini campaign. It'll be about 12 weeks long, and it's kind of a 1950s style Las Vegas kind of feel. There's gangs, there's danger, there's death, probably. I mean, I'll be playing a cleric, so hopefully not too much death, but we'll see what happens. I mean, these things have a way of sorting themselves out. I'm super excited for Viva Las Varto. I can't wait to be a player, but I'm also really excited to get back to Scavengers. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. The next history check will be about Viva Las Varto, and we will be playing again this upcoming Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch at twitch.tv/D&D Roll Call. We will not be jumping right into the campaign. We instead are going to be doing some character creation preparation. So everybody's kind of got an idea of what they want to play, but we're actually going to build it on stream. So I hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your week. Thank you so much for joining me, and until next time, your history's been checked.